Solana tweeted 589. There's some big things happening behind the scenes with the XRP ledger and Solana. There's a bridge being built and it's about to go into use. What is this all going to mean for XRP holders? I will break it down. We also have a chart here of $738 per XRP. Can this chart even play out? What does this all mean? I'm going to break it down for you, as well as Raoul Pal comments on the Bitcoin stockpile idea that America has. He doesn't believe this is a good idea, so we might need to be backing up the truck here. But let's start with the biggest news ever here. Solana tweets out 589. What does this all mean? This points to Solana becoming a major new endpoint for the XRP ledger and RLUSD flows via Axelar, and Solana is teasing it with 589 meme to signal something big is coming rather than literally a price call. But what the post is saying here is the bank XRP post explains that XRP and RLUSD will be able to route from the XRP ledger and the XRP ledger EVM to Solana through Axelar once the final audits are posted. Solana's official account then posts 589, which is the XRP's community recognizes it as a long-running ultra bullish XRP meme, effectively winking at this integration and the XRP audience. The implications for Solana gains a direct bridge to an institutional leaning payment stack, which is Ripple Tech, RLUSD, and XRP for liquidity, rather than only DeFi native stablecoins, which can pull new cross-chain volumes and users onto Solana DeFi and payment apps. If listing XRP flows actually materialize, Solana becomes a more credible hub for cross-chain FX and remittance style rails, strengthening the global payments plus high throughput DeFi narrative that Solana people are already bullish on. The implications for XRP and RLUSD get a new high performance execution environment where capital can move from the XRP ledger into Solana DeFi, lending and perpetuals, deepening its use cases beyond pure payments or the XRP ledger native apps. Strategically, every production bridge like this reduces isolation risk for XRP ledger, lets XRP and RLUSD tap into more liquidity venues, and it can support a neutral settlement asset story about the audience that they really care about. And so this was the post that I put in and I was highlighting. Of course, Solana says something big is coming. Now, I wanted to play this here. This is Anthony Scaramucci and Raoul Pal commenting on the US's plans for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Let's just jump into it.
Trump proposed a national Bitcoin stockpile, sort of like a reserve fund for Bitcoin. What is your take on this and how would it impact the crypto market? This is Lucille from Kentucky.
So I actually think it's a bit of a red herring because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. The US doesn't need to hold other assets in reserve. Yes, it's got gold, but that was a legacy from leaving the gold standard. Other countries have to have reserves to support their own currencies, so they don't need it. Now, would they do it? I think it sounds flashy. For what reason, I don't really know. But let's assume that they do. Let's say I'm wrong and they do build something. It's kind of a weird world because, yes, obviously it's good for the crypto market because there's yet another buyer. But it's also weird because Bitcoin was set up to try and replace the government's control over money.
Yep.
And now you're inserting the government as one of the largest buyers of private money. I don't really like that, actually. But, but it's probably net positive for the crypto price. Now, maybe it pushes private use of money away from Bitcoin if that were the case. Because if the government can manipulate it, they could dump it onto the market. They can buy more. And before you know it, they're using it like they are interest rates and controlling regular money. And we don't want that.
It's really interesting. But like my personal feeling here is you have David Sachs and all of these people that surround Trump and his sons that are pro Bitcoin. I mean, the Trump's family is getting into Bitcoin mining and all of these other things, right? So passing some kind of bill that would circle around the US government buying Bitcoin, all of the inner circle that owns Bitcoin would be rich. Like Senator Loomis, her and her family own Bitcoin. It would benefit them directly. Me personally, I would rather prefer the US government stepping in and supporting American innovation. Buy XRP and Solana and Chainlink and XLM and everything else that the US is currently doing. Take the $100 billion or whatever it is that you want to spend and invest it in American companies. That is what we should be doing, not speculating on Bitcoin. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you bullish on this Bitcoin narrative, or would you rather it be something else like American innovation? All right, what if the bulls are correct? $738 per XRP. What the heck is this? This is a hyper bullish technical analysis call from the X account Block Bull, projecting XRP around $738 per coin. The chart is a 1-month XRP USD view with price compressing inside a multi-year ascending triangle structure with a flat resistance zone slightly above the prior all-time highs near $3 to $4 and rising support from the 2017 lows. The blue vertical arrow on the chart measures the height from the previous explosive move, roughly 2017 run-up, and then copies the height from the current breakout zone and an estimate of a future price target. This is the standard measured move logic used with the triangles other than commutation patterns. How likely is it? The classic charting an ascending or a symmetrical triangle target is often calculated by taking the height of the pattern and projecting it upward from the breakout point. That appears to be what Block Bull did here, using a very tall historical move, which yields an extreme number into the hundreds of dollars. So here is the chart here using the 2017 and kind of just repositioning it here. And could we get to $738 per token? That would be truly incredible and a very Merry Christmas. This is almost close to Jake's prediction, right? Okay, look at that. All right, big signals for XRP. First it was Bitcoin, then it was Ethereum, Solana, and now, of course, the king is finally here.
What are the assets outside of Bitcoin? Is it just like, is it kind of, and who decides that? It feels like it all kind of stems from the CME, maybe, like CME supports Bitcoin, XRP, and Sol. So therefore that flows into Vanguard. Like, how does this, how does that actually flow of decision-making work?
Yeah, I think anything that has an ETF around it can fit into this framework. So first it was Bitcoin, then it was Bitcoin and ETH. Now it's Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. XRP is starting to bubble up around the edges.
What are the assets?
XRP is starting to bubble up around the edges. Noon, sitting at about 12.3 million. Canary XRPL is in first place this morning. Here is the combined trading volume. So a little bit lower than what we've usually seen here. 30 minutes in, 6.7 million. And then like half through the day, we only basically doubled that. And then 3 hours to go, we're at about 14.5 million here on December 8th, Monday. Talks are speculation inflows range from 50 million to 150 million. 58 million is the ETF to beat, which is Canary day one. And so what will happen once this talks are goes live? I believe this is the 21 shares spot ETF. Will we see 50 to 150 million come in? That would be truly incredible, and we would eat through a lot of that demand. BlackRock submitted a filing for a staked ETH ETF, which means BlackRock is continuously pushing forward with what their customers are demanding. We're hoping they get into the spot XRP ETF real soon. That would be incredible. Imagine what kind of Christmas gift that would be. Doing it on December 20th would be even better because that was the day the Ripple lawsuit was announced. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. And then, of course, who's stacking XRP on their balance sheets? Real companies, real usage with no speculation. And so here's Evernorth, 1.1 billion, Trendentity, 500 million, Weebis, 300 million, Vivo Power, 121, Wellgistics, 50 million, Reliance Global, 17 million, Hyperscale Data, 10, Gumi, 5 million, Worksport, 5 million, BC Bud Code, 250K, and Digital Communications, 220K. Total, $2.06 billion. They told you XRP has no real use case. US Treasuries, Brazilian stablecoins to buy real estate, and more being tokenized directly on the XRP ledger. From stablecoins to sovereign debt, it's all converging here. Now go tell them what's really happening. Now, and I think this speaks to a larger problem with the crypto market, that we're all in these groups of circles of people and we kind of know what's going on in our ecosystem, but we don't quite know what's going on maybe over there because we're more interested in the thing that we have invested in, that we have money into. And we all get very territorial about our specific asset class. We want to see it doing better than everybody else. And this is what I really like about Brad Garlinghouse. He's always from this position of all this tide, the rising tide will lift all boats. He wants to see the entire market do well. And I think once people truly understand what Ripple and the XRP ledger have been able to achieve over the last 13 years, even with 4.5 years of direct fire from the US government trying to basically take apart Ripple's movement here to this next financial system. If that couldn't stop us, nothing will. We have the greatest community here in the crypto space. People are thirsty to learn, to grow, and of course, to participate in this new financial system. And once this is all said and done, once the next few years plays out, I think people are going to look back and have a good laugh and say, you know what? I'm so glad I put the time into understanding what was transpiring around me in the financial system. My local news and more national news agencies, no matter where you live, they're not really telling you what's about to happen. They haven't been educating you on everything that's going on behind the scenes with stablecoins, tokenization, with real world assets coming on chain. But you now have the information that could change your life forever. The only hard part now is you need to sit back and let it play out. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day price swings, right? I can tell you this, and I tell all of the close friends that get into XRP and that are new to this space, I tell them, do not look at the day-to-day price. It is not good for your health, regardless if it's up or down. It's going to mess with you emotionally, and you want to bring all of your emotions out of trading. If you're going to buy and hold this for a while, don't look at the day-to-day price, and trust me, you will be a lot happier and healthier. I know I have been. All right. Most people still think Ripple is just payments. You got payments, custody, stablecoins, prime brokerage. That's not a product roadmap. That's an infrastructure roadmap. While most crypto projects chase speculation, TVL, Ripple is wiring institutional plumbing, cross-border settlement, liquidity on demand, custody rails, and enterprise-grade compliance. This isn't a narrative shift. It's a paradigm shift. Once banks, treasuries, and brokerages tap these rails, speculation becomes irrelevant. XRP usage drives demand. I don't hold XRP because of hype. I hold it because the financial system is re-architecting itself and Ripple is handing out the blueprints. Watch the rails, follow the flows, don't fade real utility. That was a great post by X Finance Bull. Make sure that you're following him. And then last but not least, if you actually understood global liquidity, you would know exactly why XRP is becoming unstoppable. Ripple's on-demand liquidity runs across 40 markets, eliminating pre-funding, unlocking 24/7 FX, and cutting costs up to 90% for real enterprises. This is $6 to $7 trillion a day, and Ripple covers 90% of the global FX market. This isn't theory. This is an invisible layer that sets multinationals move capital at scale without waiting for banks to open. Partners using ODL, their regulated money transmitters, FX networks, and treasury rails across continents. I've seen the tech that overpromised. This isn't that. This is a system level upgrade being adopted by serious players who care about uptime, compliance, and cost. Ripple didn't sell a product. They embedded utility into real world flows. And XRP is the atomic unit of that movement. Still hung up on price, you're missing the protocol that's becoming the plumbing. This is bigger than charts. This is bigger than Bitcoin. Miss XRP and you will miss the real wealth transfer. And you look at all of the partners and collaborations Ripple's been able to achieve and work on over the last few years. The only question here is when and how long is it really going to take? I will be with you up until then. And afterwards, we can make content about how everybody is living their life and spending their money. And that could be a next chapter of this channel. Until then, I look forward to learning and growing with you every day. I am Crypto Sensei. Just want to wish you a fantastic day and a week ahead. Spend some time with somebody you love. And I really appreciate you. If you like anything value, you can like, share, leave a comment, whatever it is. Just thank you for your time. All right. Aloha.